again.
Yep, Aurelion Sol permaban versus CLG, and Zach permaban versus everyone.
Yes, there's Caitlyn also banned by AirVox. Took me a second to catch it, but I'll get there. There's Elise banned again by CLG, so also adding to the banned a horrendously large amount of the time junglers. Elise going to join Zach once more on red, and then we'll see if the LeBlanc ban rears her head again for CLG. And we'll see what AFromoo want to do. Able to ban supports before, instead going to stick.
All right, we've got almost all of them back. Are we going to get the LeBlanc as well? Shen was banned out. Let's see. No, Gallia, a little bit of switch here, so they're not going to have that triple flex availability.
Seems like maybe too many, and I think AFromoo have a lot of things to deliberate here for this first pick. The one thing I do like about CLG as a team that plays Xayah and Rakan is they can threaten it and just take it here on their first rotation, but LeBlanc was left open, so with Galio banned, it is going to be first picked here by AFromoo, so once again, putting so much promise into Froggen's ability to play this champion and hard carry a game.
And if we remember back to AFromoo's game versus FlyQuest, he had a very effective game on LeBlanc, and he did go with the Hextech Gunblade as well into the Sheen. So like he's weaving a lot of auto attack damage into that LeBlanc. And with that 7-2-3-3 or 7-2-3 score, pretty big carry, and no wonder why they're willing to first pick it for him.
Yeah, on CLG's side, they actually love how they've started this draft. We've got Gragas once again, that flex for Darshan and Dardoch, and then Xayah here for Stixxay, which is kind of the good half on its own of Xayah and Rakan.
Yeah.
But realistically, AFromoo is going to take Rakan here.
I mean, it's interesting, right? Gate has been one of the support players to play so many different ones. It looks like still you have the opportunity to grab Rakan, because if it goes through the second ban phase, not sure if AFromoo would rather just play super lane punishing combo like Caitlyn Karma or something like that, Caitlyn Lulu, and just try and punish them.
And that was fast from Huhi. He's apparently got his counter pick prepared already. There's Kassadin locked in for the mid laner of CLG. Lee Sin and Kennen for AFromoo, so sticking with that strong, aggressive early game. But I mean, Kassadin's a champion we thought we were going to see so much of.
Yeah, Kassadin came in with a lot of buffs and hasn't really had the pick frequency that we expected, but he's always been a pick into LeBlanc and seen really often there because using the shield off of his Q, he's able to get pretty decently through that lane phase and then scale up very nicely, as all Kassadins are looking to do. Plus, it opens up your double teleport options. And double teleport is something that CLG, ever since Aphromoo has been on the team, which is a very long time, have been able to utilize very effectively.
We can see phase 2 bans have started. Lucian and Tom Kent, CLG again using their red side phase 2 bans to take down a complete bottom lane, with AFromoo having no picks there that we can kind of see. And there's Rakan and Rengar banned for AFromoo. So they'll split up Xayah Rakan, which I think CLG expected, and take Rengar away from Dardoch. So maybe thinking that Darshan wants to play the Gragas, or at least respecting that it's an option for CLG.
Yeah, exactly. Keeping that flexibility open. And we'll see, because there's
There's a Blitz!
We've been seeing the Blitz come back over and over, and Aphromoo has been a long-time Blitz player and loves this champion, but he almost never got to pull it out, right? But this goes back way, way back. Yesterday, we saw another Blitzcrank. Not very effective, but see how Aphromoo tries his hand at the champion.
Bold to take it in a final game here where your series is on the line, but yeah, Gates back to his old tricks. That's our support Sejuani if you haven't seen it before. Gonna pair it with a Varus here. That's Keith's bot lane pick.
Yeah, exactly. The first thing that you feel when you see a Blitzcrank is, oh, I should take a melee support into that, so if I get pulled in, I'm not totally screwed, right?
Free dash.
And Sejuani is gonna be able to have more stuns than previously after the rework. It's actually very interesting to count how many extra melee champions are on her team to help proc those stuns. And, Grigne will be helping with it with the Lee Sin. He's very mobile, so maybe they are able to stack those up quickly for the little skirmishes. Anytime you have the jungler and support working together with a good combo like that, it means that the mid-game vision control can really benefit, because you always want to see your jungler and your support pairing up for that mid-game control. Both Sejuani and Lee Sin are very mobile, so there's a lot of options for that duo if Gate is able to, go work closely with Grigne.
Yep, and looks like this was the combo that Immortals ran yesterday. playing with Xayah and Blitzcrank. So I thought it was initially for Ole something about the matchup, like with a squishy support. Haku had Karma in that particular game. But I mean, like you said, the support counter pick available here for Echo Fox. Gate takes the melee Sejuani, thinking that maybe, you know, this is the best thing for it. But it may just be that this pairing is just another good lane for Xayah.
Yeah, and so I was casting that game, and so the problems with the Blitzcrank were that they weren't able to capitalize off of any of the pressure, off of any of the pulls. Always, you know, the pulls were resulting in either trade kills or even disadvantageous positioning for they themselves. So we'll see if Aphromoo and Stixxay on the Xayah Blitzcrank combo will be able to have more success this time around into Gates Sejuani support.
Yeah, it's certainly a lot of fun, if nothing else, here between our bot lane 2v2. But Game 3 has now started. Echo Fox and CLG going to continue a very good run to start the split off early, but only one can remain 2-0 Kobe. Only one. And
it's going to be really interesting, too, because the duo of mid lane and jungle has a lot more kill pressure for Grigne and Froggen. However, you know, Huhi on the Kassadin, he also talked about his scaling, and Graves obviously has very good scaling of his own. So CLG's jungle mid, which you usually think of as the playmakers for this team, Dardoch obviously, and Huhi's always roaming around. You know, those guys are going to have to wait a little bit, at least through the early games, to scale up, get through lane phase, get a few items before they're really the ones making the plays. Aphromoo and Darshan are the two guys that are going to be the main focus as far as any sort of action that CLG are the ones, you know, trying to start.
Yeah. Well, I will say for Dardoch, it is kind of makes sense to me that he's kind of back on more of a carry-style champion. He went off on Rengar in Game 1 of this series. But, you know, he has been playing Gragas. He's played Ivern even already in this split. So he's clearly trying to diversify as a player. But I think in this sort of situation where, you know, you just have one game left to try and take the series, Dardoch is going to take something more like Graves and kind of play a bit more aggressively, and something that we've certainly seen works for him, but is also very comfortable. Yeah,
really comfortable. He's got the animation cancels on Graves down very, very well. He was one of the first to pull off the R knockback animation cancel with Graves, and he definitely has all of the auto attack cancels down very well. Both of them will be starting at the Raptors, so no surprise for either of them. Lot of vision for Dardoch, though. They saw him both you know, on the Raptors, and they have a ward on the red, so they'll be able to see the second camp here for Grigne as he versus to go grab his buff, and that means Dardoch has plenty of options available as far as which blue quadrant he even wants to go contest. Looks like might just power farm his whole red, though.
We'll see exactly what Dardoch wants to do, but down on the bottom side, Aphromoo getting hit up. Level 1 trade's actually starting as Gate using that W, swinging that flail around, trying to get some poke in, but this is some pretty classic Blitzcrank. Just zone them off, threaten the pull, and take the brush control for as long as you can.
Yeah, the problem with taking another melee into the Blitzcrank is that if you're double range, you kind of can guarantee that you'll get the first level 2. But since CLG bottom lane got control,
good flash, great flash from Darshan, follows though, and Dardoch with the rebuff, he's gonna flash in, he wants first blood, and he's gonna get it.
Yeah, so we mentioned a little bit that Dardoch was gonna do the full red quadrant clear, and he was up at Krugs, but then immediately, early gank onto the top, kills the Kennen. Once again, split push Kennen off to a bad start as Darshan and Dardoch both blow their flashes to secure that kill.
Certainly seen that story before for CLG, though, picking on Lupa and the Kennen early, try and keep it down for as long as possible. Grigne now going to go ahead and take this blue buff as Dardoch returns to his blue quadrant of the map. And, I mean, Lupa, he wanted to wall, but just a little late here.
Yeah, I mean, Dardoch just barely got into position. Perfect there with the red buff. As soon as they see his flash as well, no hesitation. Doesn't have lightning rush, and he's toast.
Cool flash from there from Dardoch, I think, trying to make sure minions didn't block bullets. Graves is kind of a weird one.
Yep. He wanted to get close for the point blank. You get extra damage as well because all your bullets are going to hit. But then finishes off. I think the Q is the thing that actually got the kill in the end. Regardless, though, got to revisit this Kassadin because Huhi is getting blasted in the mid lane by Froggen, and LeBlanc definitely able to punish early, which is very good for Echo Fox.
Yep. To clarify, it is a counter matchup, but Kassadin's early levels are almost always very rough. Froggen kind of abusing what advantage he has, but Huhi should play catch up as he gets levels into the queue, and of course gets farm and experience
Scaling always highlighted with Kassadin.
Darshan TP's back to the top side. Lupa's on the same. So Lupa keeping that pressure up, but Darshan's got a big stack of minions to farm here. So it should be able to play catch up. And that early assist actually has given him 3 early Doran's rings. So he's set up in the lane.
Full build.
Very quick. Yeah, pretty much full build.
The triple Doran ring top laners are actually, I think there's a nerf on PBE slated for those. But very effective right now. You know, you get all the mana. Oh!
That hook was very accurate. Aphromoo.
Yeah, right through those
champions. 2v2 though. Friggin' Froggen getting aggressive. He got chunked, but Dardoch very powerful. Gonna force him away from the play.
Just coming in to push that wave. Meanwhile, no real sparks flying.
Nice chain from Froggen though.
Gonna result in some extra harassment as he gets the Thunderlord's proc as well. Pretty rough situation for Huhi. And he's still gonna try and get off a delayed recall, so he's gonna lose more minions. Froggen with the first pick on the LeBlanc yet again. See if he can get this early game rolling for Echo Fox again.
Yeah, it's a really uninspiring buy as well. For Huhi, just a Ruby Crystal and some consumables. I mean, he needs to get through lane. He's kind of buying items to help him do that. But Froggen, double Durance, got a boots, and when he goes back, he should be pretty strong, whichever item he decides to go for.
Super successful interrupt on the back there. And Gragas a little bit easier at warding that brush. He had a pretty similar timing, but body slams away.
From another hook there onto Gate, but Gate's going to charge out of the way. Stixxay low on mana, but kind of firing feathers out towards Keith. Aphro threatens with a knockup, but Keith kind of dancing around all that potential crowd control quite nicely.
I think Dardoch is just waiting for a...
That all was nuts from Darshan. Gets the body slam in as well as cooking the barrel. Dardoch's here and Lupa absolutely caught in the smoke screen. One more, no, Grigne gets the save and turns it back around. Darshan goes down.
A little bit too far forward there. Dardoch was not level 6, so he had no ultimate to finish off the kill onto Kennen. And, you know, as slick as that was to start everything off, counter kill goes over to Echo Fox. And now they've got some money back in the hands of the Kennen. He can increase the minion lead as well as even up their jungler presence.
Pivotal counter gank there from Grigne. Able to kind of right the ship there in top lane. Huhi and Froggen still doing battle. Huhi getting a bit more aggressive now that he has Riftwalk and Dardoch behind him, but 2v2 action is not stopping either. Aphro lands the hook in tower range. No, not quite Gate. He's taking damage on the feathers, but the root's not there. Keith firing onto Aphromoo when that happens.
Yep, cover fire there from Keith. Every time that Gate does get pulled in, Keith is there to dish out the damage, and he...
Oh no, oh no, he's on a one! Aphromoo gets a knockup! No! He flashes out of the way. Heal forced out by Keith. Oh, tough one there for Gate.
Yeah, that's a sneaky ward. You got to keep track of those lane wards. Sometimes it's really difficult, though, if the enemy team is pushing. Take another look at this. Darshan got a very nice ultimate into the body slam, into the wall, which ensures the extra damage there from the end of the line. But 2 turret shots. Got a little bit of minion block there, and then Grigne comes in with a very slick safeguard into Sonic Wave combo and cleans up a really quick counter kill.
Back in the mid lane though, Froggen still up about 15 minions over Huhi. Is Gate actually looking for something around the mid lane? Might just be sweeping up vision at this point. No ultimate yet for Gate to try and make a play with, but going to empower Grigne. And this is a pretty strong roam combo actually. You mentioned tracking melee champions on the same team as Sejuani. That only combo that can exist is between Grigne and Gate, but if they can lock somebody down, that's an awful lot of CC for Sejuani to help Lee Sin do all that damage with.
Yeah, and the auto attacks after a lot of burst that people don't really account for too often. Calling in junglers to help shove the waves here as the mid lane battle continues to rage. Huhi stabilizing after level 6 with Kassadin. You feel so much more comfortable, and he's able to keep the CS discrepancy about even at that one wave.
There's actually been a lane swap here for CLG deciding, you know what, bottom lane, not feeling too hot right now. We're actually going to move Xayah and Blitz to the top side of the map. This does help Dardoch steal away this blue buff as Aphromoo is there to cover for him.
Yeah, they do this post, 7 minutes, so the extra reduction on the turrets is gone. But even so, teleport comes in, and Echo Fox are going to react very quickly to power down for some first turret gold.
They're actually going to burn the TP on Lupa's side to make sure this goes down. Froggen will have his back in a minute, but they're going to win the race here with Grigne also coming down from the jungle, so she'll push through the lane and try and deny a few more creeps, but first turret and the gold does go to Echo Fox.
All right, see if they can use this momentum. The Infernal Drake, so common in this series, is there yet again, so that would be a very big pickup for Echo Fox as CLG opt into the top side pressure. They're going to continue pushing onto the secondary turret, and Rift Herald will spawn after they finish up there, so it's a possibility that CLG then retreat over to Rift Herald and trade that objective as well, but Huhi's going in.
Grigne gets the smite though, and Huhi trying to get the kill on the jungler, but so many stuns in for Lupa. Q lands in, he Rift walks away! 2v1 outplay by Echo Fox.
Yeah, I mean, 2v1.
I mean, look, Huhi probably shouldn't have done that.
Yeah, exactly. I was like, Huhi goes in there, and now it's a little bit of aggressive move from CLG, but they're kind of floundering after that play. I don't know, maybe Huhi didn't expect the rest of Echo Fox to have collapsed down there, but he goes in for the solo contest on the Drake. Darshan gets a little bit of harassment from Froggen's side.
Yeah, I'm not that confident that Huhi, even if he's just trying to steal the Drake, he's going to have a whole lot of success, so...
Going in for a steal versus a Lee Sin, he's got smite and everything.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I don't know about that one. Well, Huhi gonna cost him some pride and also his life because of a catalyst now. Teleports back to the mid lane to try and keep up on farm. He's only 10 or so behind, but I mean, Lupa was stealing the blue. Huhi sees him and was like, yeah, I can go in, but you have no other vision.
I think they assumed that the rest of Echo Fox recalled to defend their top lane push, but they had not. They had just pushed down that other turret and had stuck around, so Huhi thought that maybe he was going to get some alone time with Grigne in the Dragon Pits. Not the case.
Certainly not. It's 3vx. CLG actually collapsing with 4 people right now on the
ultimates.
top. Aphro behind, make it 5 as Grigne. Good ward. Nice ulti there. Moves Gate back into the team. He's going to get rooted, but dashes out of the way. Huhi gets that first kill. Now the TP's room for Echo Fox. Keith trying to flash out of the way as Froggen's caught Dardoch with a nice grab on a Grigne. Is going to force him away with the safeguard. Froggen slays Dardoch, though, as Darshan's going to leap forward onto Keith, and Stixxay just needs a few more autos. There's the bop there from Darshan, able to get yet another kill.
In the end, that's only a 2-for-1 for CLG, and Looper is pushing mid lane on Kennen. The CS is slowly climbing up for him, so CLG expend a lot of resources here. See if they get punished for it.
Grigne does a kick here, so I can maybe look for a play nice ward from Aphromoo, though. Is going to stop that from happening. It's kind of just the outer turret they're looking to get. Grigne actually burns his safeguard for a few extra autos. Froggen wants to stay. He does get grabbed up, but they will get the turret. Froggen trying to dash out of the way, and that's Lupa running interference with the ultimate. Gets a massive set of stuns as Grigne looks for the kick. Finds Aphro, wants to get him, and does execute him eventually, but Huhi is going to get Lupa on the other side. Stixxay flashes forward for the next kill.
Yep, and they clean up Grigne as well. CLG don't defend the turret, but they do get the kills on the other side, so they're losing out in a little bit of map control with the objectives, as long as that gold is close, though. They just want, again, the scaling to take over. Dardoch and Huhi feeling pretty decent about themselves. Extra kills here going over to Huhi also result in stacks on the ring, right? So have to account for that, as well as a possible earlier completion on his Rod of Ages.
Well, given how kind of poorly the laning phase went, any help's good here for Huhi as Echo Fox. They know what's happening here when they commit to this play.
Both teams are well aware. Okay, they're committing to finish the turret. We're going to try and get the kills on the outside. And Darshan is able to kind of close the gap here as Kassadin very adequately equipped to chase down targets. Stixxay avenges his partner Aphromoo as well.
Now red buff over to Dardoch, actually. Going to keep farming through for himself. And as we have a quick checking with a few items, nothing major completed just yet, with the exception of a Lupa is Blade of the Ruined King. Froggen does appear to be going Gunblade.
Yeah, that's what he went last time, and it's a possibility. Still,
why does he have a Phoenix Codex?
Maybe we're going 2 different routes at the same time.
Maybe. Splitting the difference. We'll see.
In the middle here, though, we have Aphromoo going into Tricky Brush, and I believe that they still have Froggen around, yeah?
Aphromoo looking for the hook. Froggen blind. Is just going to take the ward down instead. Doesn't want to get hooked by Aphro, but Aphro busy with the control ward.
Exactly. He has to worry about Huhi, who's hovering up on that top side. Froggen off to a very good start, so, you know, with the extra minion advantage and the possible completion of a Hextech Gunblade. That will give him sustain for the split pushing game that starts to come up. All teleports are down except for Loopers, though. So Equifox, slight advantage there.
He's going to give Looper priority in that side lane. It's actually bottom right now. 1v1 faced off against Darshan. Froggen's going to go ahead, dance around the blue buff for himself, but get it nonetheless. And there are, like you mentioned, kind of 4 teleports in this game, despite one only being up right now. Looks like Grigne is going to start the Rift Herald. No vision in the pit for CLG, although probably have a decent idea. As I say that, they're not checking just yet. Pressure in mid lane from Fox is going to kind of force them away from their area, at least for now.
Yeah, as you said before, it does take a long time to do the Rift Herald because she has so much life and you really need to rely on multiple eye-opening events. So they're able to come a little bit leisurely here and put a stop to the Rift Herald. Dardoch has to worry though because Froggen provides a lot of burst.
Looper back into the turret. Nice ult there from Darshan. And now Looper's going to let it rip with his own ultimate. Darshan maybe a little too far forward. Needs one more stun, but needed 2 more mucks to get it. Looper not able to get that kill, but even then with Darshan starting that fight, Looper pretty effortlessly wins that 1v1.
Yeah, don't underestimate the sustain on that Blade of the Ruined King, especially versus tanks. Aphromoo coming to threaten the turrets. But again, back to the Rift Herald, and that may be the last straw here. Enable Equifox to pick this up and possibly set up a stronger push. You know, they're out-CSing CLG across the board, pretty much every single lane. Only the jungle position really going well there for CLG. And as we said, they have the lead in turrets and dragons. If they can continue to use this to widen the gap, that'd be ideal.
Froggen again playing on a side lane. Blue buff on level 11 with his TP almost cooled down. 20 seconds till that's available. So plenty here for Fox to play with. Darshan and Huhi have their TPs up though, so maybe look to play around the map as things do press forward. Huhi actually hiding in a brush for now, kind of making sure no one's hiding with him. Froggen's already back to base, and the Gunblade is now completed, so just wanted a bit of extra early CDR. I imagine that's going to be a Morello's in short order, but Froggen now with some decent split push potential, but of course a lot of assassination at his fingertips.
And it's actually a pretty important spike here because Huhi's Rod of Ages is just completed, so it's still stacking a bit here, whereas Froggen has a very nice spike on the Gunblade and should be able to push the wave first. He can do a lot of healing even if he takes a trade in between. Huhi is waiting up in that brush though while Dardoch takes the dragon. So CLG looking to take multiple things at the same time.
We'll get the Drake here. Fox not too interested in that. Maybe setting up the Rift Herald push instead. Cloud Drake though will go over to CLG as Keith hanging out in mid lane on the strong side towards his jungler. Gate here as well as Fox again and shove it back down mid.
And look at the top lane as well. Froggen using that spike we talked about to continue with the pressure onto Kassadin. He's not scaled up yet. Bottom side though, Looper uses his Blade active.
Yep, does get a good amount of speed. Actually doesn't even need to use Lightning Rush, which he did not have until just now. And he's the Rift Herald mid lane. Fox just pulling CLG all around this map and trying for something. Oh, the grab does find Grigne, but there's a chain of corruption back in onto Stixxay. Huhi though around the sides get kicked away by Grigne as Lee Sin's trying to make an exit. Blade of the Ruined King popped on Aphromoo, needs a bit of extra speed, and that Rift Herald push gets thwarted almost instantly as Gate is forced to flash out from under the Xayah, but Froggen trying to assassinate Stixxay, gets a huge amount of damage, uses everything to get him through it all, and now Kate flashes out from under Afro's marker, but still eats it on the other end as Darshan. He's forced to flash out from the chain of Froggen. CLG again collapsing so far, but Wooper is doing work on the bottom side. Fox just need to buy time.
Ooh, and they're able to disengage after canceling the teleport, so now they're buying time for Looper to push on the bottom side. Pretty good evasive maneuvers, and Froggen on the LeBlanc, consistently able to find the target on the back line, takes down Stixxay.
Maybe even takes down Dardoch, looks for the chain, doesn't land it in onto Graves. Red goes over to Grigne though, who picks up the smite, and now damage on a Huhi. As Keith is firing away. Aphro also low. Hook lands in, but he might just get stunned for it. Huhi moves in and does go on a killing spree. Ultimate moves in. Keith does get Aphro, but Keith does go down on the other end. A 2-for-1 trade mid lane, CLG.
Oh, they're able to scrounge up some extra gold for themselves. The turret almost dead though.
Looper gonna get it, but he needs to book it ASAP. He's able to get out of there. Stixxay not around in time to try and lock down the Kennen. And Kennen is gonna be prove to be a bigger and bigger nuisance as the game pushes on. Phantom Dancer now completed for Keith. We'll see what Looper gets with his 2 daggers. Got excited there for a second. Looks like maybe Hurricane, maybe PD's on the way, but there's a Zeal up for Looper now as well.
Yeah, much better focus from Echo Fox this time around. All right, let's take a look at this 2v2 because they want to keep the pressure up and finish these turrets off. They got a large amount of damage onto Huhi, but again, Gate gets pulled under the turret and immediately bursts. Then with the silence, Aphromoo is able to secure that kill onto Keith there. However, he does sacrifice his life getting into auto attack range. I think it's definitely worth it though. You want as many kills on this Kassadin right now as you can possibly get because Echo Fox are doing a very good job at keeping up the pace. One of the biggest criticisms leveled at this team is that they slow down in the mid and late game. But they've done a good job keeping up their pressure and committing to that Kennen split push, which has earned them, you know, extra gold advantages.
Well, it does feel like CLG are playing a very similar looking mid game than they did in game number 2. All the kills are going to their late game split push. It was Darshan's Fiora in game 2. It's Huhi's Kassadin here in game number 3. And just again, trading, trying to keep the gold close. Yes, Echo Fox do have 4,000 gold up already. But if they don't fold too hard to all of this 3-lane pressure, then CLG will be able to fight their way out eventually. It's just a matter of holding on and not giving too much away.
And this is one of the strats I really enjoy, you know, when watching double teleport teams. Having one of them trail the other split pusher in case Looper goes for an engage onto Darshan. Huhi was there to capitalize for a kill. But Looper plays it intelligently. He doesn't have any eyes on the Kassadin, so he doesn't fully commit you know, to harassment onto this big tank.
Yeah, and Echo Fox just charging down mid lane. Gonna try and do additional damage to that tier 2 turret. Its health got pretty low in the exchange where Aphromoo did trade his life for 2 on the Echo Fox side.
Darshan is actually coming in for a flank. CLG might try and force a fight.
Oh, misses onto Dardoch. In fact, a lot of CC missed there onto Dardoch. Afro looks for a very predictive hook.
Yeah, I think that maybe that was the last place Froggen had left a distortion, and he thought he was going to go back to that. Didn't quite see it there, though. Regardless, the flank attempt from Darshan is not going to get them an engage, and they do lose out on one more wave due to Looper committing to his split push.
Looper is actually kind of
he got the wolf, though.
To get the big one, but Looper's going to get the small ones. That is Froggen CC'd for days. Aphromoo gets the kill with his Ignite.
Whoa, what a pull there, and the Blitzcrank actually is coming up decently big for CLG. Playmaking abound. They really need it too because secondary turrets are getting so low. They've already lost one and the mid about to fall. So every kill they get buys them some more time to get back out onto the field and get some much needed vision.
Yep, vision around Baron is where they're looking as well. So Echo Fox into respect.
Last auto.
Oh, that's all good. Those regenerate. Looking for a pick maybe perhaps instead. Can clear it out in the next few seconds, so don't need to rush things just yet. Froggen up in 3 seconds with his TP. We can join a fight if Fox want to start one, but the Drake is up in 40 seconds, and I think we'll start seeing people maneuver back around to their respective lanes. And Looper with his Hurricane is going to get this lane shoved out as quickly as possible.
Yeah, no problems here. And especially with his flash available, very secure in his split push now. The 2-item power spike for Kennen can easily annihilate a wave and then roam into the jungle to try and set up this dragon. And I think it's looking very good as far as Echo Fox setting up for the dragon. We have to say, CLG has a lot of playmaking potential. Aphromoo on his Blitzcrank. Can he land the God Hand? They're setting up some control wards to try and get Fog of War to work with.
Yeah, and again, like game 2,
we watch Gate.
Oh, good hook. That's going to Gate. CC's going to chain in, but he does flash over the wall. Summon a spell down, though, does not cost CLG much.
Pull in a flash. That's one less escape for Gate now. And remember, he's playing a lot of these melee supports, but they are fairly squishy as not much income early in the game. Meanwhile, the split push here from Huhi really building up. They've got a giant, like, triple stacked wave slowly building on top side, so they'll be able to corner Gate.
Yeah, Gate's actually just trying to go all the way to Looper maybe as Grigne next one caught it off from Darshan's going to knock him back towards the team. Needs to kick them through and does get a nice triple kick to maybe escape. The whole time though, Looper is still pressuring that bottom inhib turret, so CLG have to answer.
And they're going to use up one of their teleports. Also, they let Gate get away for a while, but now he's roaming back around through the turrets. Gate's going on his own adventure right now.
Passive does wear off, but pretty tanky as Stixxay may be found in. Lupa trying to fight Huhi and Aphromoo and Dardoch, who's also coming into the fight. Lupa, this start going a little too long, flashes out of the way. He's trying to dance around the rest of CLG, but 4 members are there, and Dardoch puts the final nail in.
They already used Darshan's teleport, and Huhi's super low, so Fox goes straight for Baron.
Well, this could be awkward. CLG need to book it as fast as they possibly can. Stixxay is the lone defender right now, as the ulti is not going to stun him. Stixxay holds onto his ult as well. Froggen does get the chain down, but he's still rooted at the end of it. Froggen still not going to go in, but he needs to try and save the day. Huhi looking to clean up on the other side, but they still have their jungler. Baron goes to Dardoch, who steals it somehow. I have no idea how that happened, but CLG is starting to clean up. There's the ult from Dardoch, gets a kill. 4 members of Fox dead, and they lost Baron.
Goodness, tragedy strikes for Echo Fox. CLG get the pick on the bottom side, then not only kill off 3 more members at Baron, but they steal it to boot. Dardoch comes up so big for the team, and just like that, they gain all the momentum in the game. Baron push gains them more gold. They'll have empowered recalls to go purchase with. Cloud Drake is there for the taking. Red buff is there for the taking. What an absolute monstrous turnaround.
The gold gap has completely closed and now overtaken for CLG. How did Dardoch steal this?
All right. First of all, Stixxay dodges the Sejuani ultimate, and then this 1v1 with Froggen as well. Let me take a look at, he's able to dodge that wire with the ult. Then he starts auto-attacking the clone. Dardoch, though, just flash Q auto smites right over the wall. Really big burst there. Able to claim it. Then style kill. Ults over to get Froggen. Whew. Yeah, you could say he feels at home on Graves.
Certainly looks like it. As CLG turn the game around with one very impressive looking play from Dardoch. And I mean, now we've almost got 3 items for Huhi. TPs will be coming back off cooldown, but so much pressure in every lane with Baron. And Lupa's split push, which was looking so great, he just has to 10 these waves while Baron is up. Blue buff going to go over to Dardoch as well. Aphromoo is going to grab that one.
All right. The map is CLG's to play with now. Huhi on the Kassadin. Stacked up, got the extra little bit of burst damage from the Sheen. And since he went for the Zhonya's second item a little bit earlier than sometimes we see, he even has playmaking potential for team fights. Stixxay, though, takes a bunch of damage from Froggen and has to burn his ult.
Good patience from Stixxay. That was the one he wanted to try and stop hitting you, so doesn't get the proc on the passive.
Yeah, definitely necessary there. Barely saves his own life, but a big cooldown that he's going to wish he had.
2v1-ish starting. Looks like CLG collapsing towards his bottom side, so Lupa had a bit of help from Grigne, though. Huhi's already diving in. Chunks Lupa down to about 60% health, and Darshan is on the backside of the turret with his ultimate. Echo Fox, this might be a bad turret to try and defend, and they'll back up towards their inhib turret. CLG with the Baron buff. Had a couple minions there to help them out, able to take that one down. 5 turrets to 4 now, where only moments ago it was 4-1 in favor of Fox.
Exactly. Again, we're seeing the downfall of so many split push teams. When your Kennen team gives up one big mistake, like 4 kills and a Baron over to the other team, then he's kind of forced into team fighting, which is not where he wants to be. Right now he's flanking around the outside, though.
Grab on the gate. Froggen again looking for a kill, but Stixxay blows up Gate on the other side. Darshan taking fire, but is going to live as Huhi dives back in onto Lupa. CLG still here with plenty of damage, going to rip that turret down. And now still 4v5. Fox is trying to defend their base.
Yeah, Inhibitor's going to go down pretty seamlessly here for CLG. They get the kill, and they get the objectives on their way out.
They're starting to feel out of reach even now for Echo Fox, which is incredible to think, given how much of a lead they have. But CLG, one steal of the Baron by Dardoch. A follow-up fight, and it just cascades to such a big lead already.
Exactly. I really like seeing these 2 team comps play out, because Echo Fox, with the early pressure, they have the split push advantage. They're running CLG around, but CLG came up with some big plays to get right back into it. And here's another pull from Aphromoo to start it all off. Darshan is on the front line, and he wants to be better safe than sorry. Just flash out, make sure they don't give anything back, and they slowly gain their map advantages. Super Minions will now be trailing into the bottom.
And that's one of the best sides right now. Yep, there's an Ocean Drake coming up in a couple minutes, but when Baron does respawn, you'll be happy to have that pressure, and that is quite the Baron power play for CLG. 7,600 gold or so.
Definitely well above average, which last time I checked for the North American LCS was around 3,500 for average ones, so more than double what you usually get. And you have to take all those factors into account that we mentioned. They were initially behind when it started. They got a bunch of kills right after Dardoch stole it, so that adds on and that counts. Plus all of those turrets that they get to clean up. The comeback Barons are the ones where you see on that extreme end of the scale.
And again, CLG just always know how to set up their map, not just like what to do and how to win with a lead. They're very good when ahead, and you can kind of see with the amount of damage they were able to do with that Baron buff just how good. But I think it feels like they see the map in every different position and kind of understand all the different iterations. There's so much synergy, so much strong macro play, and it's the kind of team that, yes, will take a game that looks horrible and just turn it around with a 7,000 gold Baron power play.
And Aphro,
another hook there, flashes in for it. Does knock up Gate again, who seems to be magnetized. Although Froggen leaping back in. Aphro this time the one to go down as a chain of corruption. Doesn't quite spread around Gate. Still taking damage. Ult there is going to move Grigne back in, but he's going to kick Stixxay out of the way. Root's going to land in, but Stixxay has to back away.
Yeah, Aphro did not want the flash pull to land onto the support Sejuani there. Gate is able to take it, and that is a turnaround. Hold there for Fox. I think CLG still, upper hand here, but actually Huhi now committed.
Going in, he's so strong on the Kassadin. Does use the zonies to defend the counter assault coming from Fox. Fox still fighting again. Now it's their turn to kind of play that scrappy trade game. Try and claw their way back into the game. Oh, Dardoch stealing everything today. Very fitting laugh there for Grigne. Who are we going to get? Blue buff is level 16 now as well, with 3 items completed and 10 stacks on the Dark Seal. So what was a very mediocre landing phase to turn into quite
Yeah, let's take a look at this. Aphro, it looked like he wanted to thread maybe past Gate to hit Eve with that, but Gate was very close to that. And Sejuani, big model. Not a high chance of making that one pull off.
Rig kicks one out of the way, but he's still getting chased down. Darshan with the last barrel. He's able to take down the Lee Sin.
All right, that is a fortunate pickoff. CLG had a lot of vision, already since they were pushed up for so long, and that's why they were able to pick off Grigne. Now they transition this into the Baron. No jungler available to smite steal.
So now Fox have to fight. Gate gonna get hooked again by Aphro. CLG just staying in here. Froggen trying to poke them down, but Huhi able to take a decent amount of damage. No way to steal it except that they just go in for it, and looks like Smite should be unlocked. Stixxay gets it instead just to make sure. Grab finds one and Looper goes down. Dardoch on a rampage, able to take his 5th kill of the game.
All right, CLG now with Baron and minions in the top lane. They can just swing over to the top side, but they're keeping up a bit of a chase.
Froggen looking for Darshan, does a good amount of damage. Gonna get another chain in. Darshan able to clear the gap. Gets enough distance with the body slam.
They do refocus. They go up with those minions in the top lane, and they should be able to get another inhibitor.
Well, KP is going to come in. Gates, Keith, and Grigne are all trying to clean out that bottom half of the map. Froggen also late on his attempted pick onto Darshan. So that's an inhib down. We've got another one already down in bottom lane they got earlier. So pressure still on for CLG, and they might look to end here. Look for the massive hook on the Keith, but Aphro barely out of range, and Froggen again dipping in, trying to pick some people off, but CLG just a little too strong right now.
Next turret number 1 goes down. Baron is still active, and the minions are pushing in.
All right, Looper's back here. Fox, the final stand could be right now. Next to it's going to be assaulted. Grigne gets grabbed by Aphromoo to try and seal the game. 5v4 once more. The Redemption's going to reset it. Darshan back into the fight. A huge amount of AoE. He's going to chain together, and Keith is going to go down. Everybody's caught. It's almost an ace for CLG. Froggen barely living in the fountain, but the Nexus is open, and CLG will seal the series 2-1 over Echo Fox.
This is a game where you'll look back to that big play. CLG going bottom to pick off the Kennen and immediately getting to Baron in just enough time to steal it and clean up 3 more kills. After that play happens, it's just such a huge swing, and CLG had so many playmaking abilities available that they're able to turn the entire series back in their favor. What a close one, though.
Just a huge punch in the gut when a Baron gets stolen like that. CLG made maximum use out of the Baron that was gifted over to them.
Huge props to Dardoch for that steal, but also CLG able to come up with all of the kills on top of it.
And again, a team that knows exactly what to do when they have leads like that. You can see Grigne had a great series for himself. His 2017 summer debut in the NA LCS being consoled there by the team and their management, but close one there for CLG. They'll stay undefeated for now, but that was definitely not how they wanted that series to go.
It was such an exciting series. Echo Fox really made them work for it, even down to the last few moments there of the last game before this Baron is stolen. Echo Fox have so much control with their split push.
Certainly do, and I think in a lot of ways we had questions coming into this week. How good are the teams that did go 2-0 last week? We had questions for Echo Fox, CLG looking good, but we always want to see, can they improve on that? And I think this series does show these are both very good teams, at least in the first half of the split.
It was definitely an exciting one to watch, especially as CLG are usually the ones with the split push advantage, and they're the ones trying to run the other team around, but it's fun to see them scramble and try and come up with a solution there, and they were barely able to pull off that pick. I think that was definitely the breaking point of the game, and it was super close to going Echo Fox's favor if they were just a couple seconds later to that Baron, but that is going to be the end of this story.
Certainly for now, I believe we are lining up an interview, if I recall correctly. Maybe, maybe not. We'll find out in just a second.
Usually how we go about things.
Certainly is. Darshan will be on stage shortly. We'll just kind of cue that one up. And I mean, we can take a breath, talk about the series as a whole. I think Echo Fox, you kind of mentioned it already, but I'm also not a huge fan of the Kennen. I mean, the way they win is get Froggen big and then play with that advantage together. When you isolate Looper, a player that's already kind of struggling to build synergy with the team, build communication, it just feels like, yes, he's an excellent player. Maybe leave him there to kind of figure out how that happens, but didn't work out too much for them, unfortunately.
Yeah, Darshan definitely came up huge for CLG in this victory.
Well, for more on that series, let's check in with Jat and CLG's top laner.
Thank you, PastryTime. And yes, I'm here with Darshan. First off, congratulations on the victory and a 3-0 start to the split. Tell me a little bit about your early start to the split and how it feels to be 3-0.
It definitely feels good to come out with the wins, but I would love to win a lot more cleanly than we are. I think we're still making a lot of mistakes, and there's a lot to work on, but I'm still happy with the result starting 3-0.
Yeah, and just talking about the series a little bit, you were on tanks in games 1 and 3, the victories, and then you had the split push Fiora game where you got very fed, but weren't able to come up with the win. Can you talk to me a bit about the contrast in the play style when you're on that tank versus when you're on something with Fiora and how the team plays around that?
Yeah, so when I'm on the tank, I don't really have like the damage or the potential to carry in terms of like if I get fed enough, we can't lose. But I have a lot more utility and I can sacrifice a lot more for the team. So I kind of just see myself as like a utility player that can kind of just be more supportive. And I think that helps the team a lot because it just if we have too many carries, then it's pretty hard to play the game. So I can play both styles, but I feel like definitely right now we're better when I'm on that more supportive style. But I think either way, I feel pretty comfortable.
And I kind of want to ask you a bit more about feeling like the team is better when you're on a more supportive style, especially with Dardoch joining the team. It seems like you more than any other top laner are willing to switch wildly between those two styles. And how does that kind of fit within the rest of the team when you're one game super resource intensive versus the other game losing a lot of farm to the other guy but making big plays for the team?
I think it's just I'm very willing to sacrifice and give up. Like, I don't really care if I go down 100 CS against an 80 Kennen if we win the game. And I understand that, and I understand my role. And initially, when I first was a pro, like, all I did was play, like, carries, like Tryndamere, Riven, Jax, Kha'Zix, top lane when he was meta in Season 3. But I was used to that style, and then I kind of, like, grew up and learned how to play both styles. So I'm completely fine playing either style. And as we move on to the season, I'm sure we'll be using more of both.
Yeah, and just looking forward towards the rest of the season. Last split, you had that disappointing ending, losing in the basically quarterfinals, and it felt like CLG was in this mode where they're going to try and turn it on in playoffs. But now you're kind of off to the hot start in summer. Where's the rest of it going for CLG? What's the goals for the summer split?
So we have it right now on our whiteboard. Like, the first goal that we have is to go 18-0, not drop a single set. And so we're 3-0, 15 more sets to go. Definitely not going to be an easy road. We're playing TSM tomorrow. Should be our hardest game yet. So tomorrow will be like a huge indicator of how reasonable and how likely this 18-0 will go. So pretty exciting weekend.
All right, setting the goals high. I'd like to hear it. Thank you very much for the interview, Darshan. Congratulations again on the win, and let's send it to the analyst desk to break down that game.
Thank you very much, Jack. Good to hear from Darshan. Also see him on some carry champions. He was saying before, he has played some in the past. I think we remember a little Zion Spartan pushing down some lane. But to come out here, like they said on their whiteboard, 18-0, ambitious.
Some people have low goals, so you always surpass them and feel good about themselves. CLG probably, if those are their level of goals, probably disappointed a lot of the time.
Fans are ready.
Yeah, fans are ready. They've been broken into it for years. But yeah, with the draft phase, there's actually a pretty interesting one because they give up the LeBlanc first pick. CLG is forced into a bit of a strange decision with their last pick in the first phase, where they have to choose between taking Kassadin, the counter for LeBlanc, or securing the Rakan for the Xayah-Rakan combo. They go with the Kassadin, probably worth it overall, I'd say, just to make sure that you have that counter pick to hold on to Froggen, because he almost got out of control this game. And then the second phase of the draft, it kind of gets weird where you're taking Blitz blind, you don't know what bot lane, with the only target available right now is maybe an AD Kennen to grab, a very mobile LeBlanc, and then Echo Fox ends up taking the Blitz, the Sejuani, so you kind of get this crazy bot lane out of nowhere.
It was absolutely fantastic. We see the blitz pulls coming in. As you were saying, Aphromoo was able to bring that in. But big plays coming in. We see 11 minutes, 2 for 1 in the top. A lot of this started to revolve around the strength of what Dardoch and the rest of the team was bringing to the table.
And this is a situation that actually doesn't happen that much anymore, where your bot lane is in a long lane with a turret down behind it and the enemy top laner having teleport. Back in the day with 2v1s, everyone was used to this situation. This time around, Echo Fox showing probably a little bit of unfamiliarity with this, getting a 2 for 1 against them. And it wasn't the end of the world. They were still ahead in some of the other lanes. Kennen that whole time was just split pushing down the bot lane. He didn't have teleport to match. He got kind of further ahead. And that's where the game kind of ended up, where Echo Fox was always split pushing, always had people pulling the rest of CLG around the map. They had the Blitzcrank, they wanted to make the big play, but it was kind of hard to actually get a grasp onto the rest of Echo Fox.
And it was actually really good to see Echo Fox doing this, because they were a team that would always sometimes put everything on Froggen and hope the game could go that way. It went this way with LB. That's just kind of the way it files out when you put the utility or the power onto her. But they are showing that they can do different things, shut down TSM in a lot of these fights. But then it comes to the crazy, crazy objective fights. You get this Baron go, when they went for Baron, I should say, in a good fight. CLG Baron steal and a 4-0.
Yeah, it was right after they picked off the Kennen, the bot lane. This makes Echo Fox finally group up and pin themselves against the wall here, where they have been trying to split the whole game.
Right.
It takes too long. They don't have great damage for it. LeBlanc notoriously bad at securing objectives as opposed to standard mages. It buys time for CLG to collapse. Great steal by Dardoch. Excellent combo for kind of going to that situation a little blind, and then still has the follow-up to get a couple kills as well. And Dardoch started going a little crazy in that fight, but the story was that Kassadin ends up with almost 24,000 damage. If you're wondering between Xayah and Rakan, or Rakan and Kassadin, excuse me, I think the Kassadin pick, like we said, worked out pretty well for them.
Absolutely. As you said, you see the damage on the board. Player of the game, rights going over to Dardoch for that huge Baron steal, as well as kind of keeping consistency throughout the games, as it doesn't matter coming across, but still, good third game, strong play in the Graves.
Yeah, and I think that's the big thing, is the fact that, you know, before that Baron steal, they were down about 4,000 gold, and off the back of it, they climb all the way up to about 5,000 ahead. Huhi did a great job throughout the game, staying relevant, but especially once he got the lead, that's when he started blowing people up, because Kassadin, like we said, kind of scales better throughout the game. And once Dardoch had secured them the late game, that's when Huhi really, really came online.
It'll be interesting. CLG plays TSM tomorrow. They actually just lost their game. Semi-spoiler, not spoiler, as you're watching the LCS. But it'll be great to see. Ken, with TSM now with this loss, is CLG going to go 4-0, or are they going to be able to find such a lead?
I mean, it's scary, especially for TSM. Obviously, if you're a CLG fan, great 4-0. But if you're 3-1 at the end, that's not too bad. But if you're TSM, looking at the difference between 2-2 and 1-3, it's pretty terrifying. Because right now, CLG probably the favorites right now for best team in the league early on, and it's not going to get any easier for TSM tomorrow.
Well, that is tomorrow. We still got more good action today, some good league action. Coming right up, we got Team Liquid hoping to bounce back from their Week 1 performance against Team Envy. Do not go anywhere.
But since CLG bottom lane got control,
good flash, great flash from Darshan, follows though, and Dardoch with the river. If he's gonna flash in, he wants first blood, and he's gonna get it.
Huhi's going in.
Grigne gets the smite though, and Huhi trying to get the kill on the jungler, but so many stuns in for Lupa. Q lands in, he rip walks away! 2v1 outplay by Echo Fox.
You're good. Careful, Zach. Punch it two. Lead no flash. Lead no flash. Nice, Jay. Lead no flash, no ulti. Chase lead. Chase lead. Nice, Trevor.
Look at it clean up on the other side, but they still have their jungler. There goes Dardoch, who steals it somehow. I have no idea how that happened, but but CLG is starting to clean up. There's the ult from Dardoch to try and seal the game. 5v4 once more. The Genepton's going to reset it. Darshan back into the fight. A huge amount of AoE. He's going to chain together, and Keith, he's going to go down. CLG will seal the series 2-1 over Echo Fox.